Hello everyone and welcome to a very early version of The Sims 4 on PS4. They said it couldn't be done, but they did it, and here it is. It went in a much different direction than I expected, but I like when the console games are a bit different. This one has a heavy multiplayer focus, and a lot more customization than any other Sims game before, as you're seeing here. I wanted to see how far we could go, so my sim is some kind of weird troll monster doing the dance command in the emotes menu. Again, very different from the normal Sims experience, but I feel like they wanted to build on Sims 3 for the Wii. I know that's an odd choice, but this game reminds me a lot of Sims 3 for the Wii. Because in Sims 3 for the Wii, you had direct control mode, and you could move around a small city, and this game does mark the return of direct control mode, something I feared was gone forever. They also implemented, as you're seeing here, fully functional driving, and the AI also drives around of its own free will, sometimes for the worse. Usually the car accidents manage to fix themselves unless a bus is involved somehow, then they're usually just stuck there. The AI isn't terribly smart, but it does try to follow the traffic laws most of the time. But yeah, they actually went way further in a completely new direction than I ever would have expected with this game. I mean, as you're seeing right here, they even implemented car physics and car damage. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but this is car damage in a Sims game. Some downsides are the usual lack of polish, like this guy's head is sticking through the top of his car. Yeah, let's get a better angle on that. That guy's head is sticking through his car because the customization is a little excessive, as we demonstrated. But there's clipping in almost every game. I know you're watching me drive around in a Sims game and you're thinking, okay, but are there driving missions? And yes, we can pick up people who need a ride, drive them to their destination, and we get a small amount of money for doing so. We get rated on our performance, and the better we do, the more money we get. We also get experience, but the amount of experience we get for doing this is negligible. Our level is up there in the top left. In this game, we are the mayor of our own city. That's kind of the main selling point of The Sims 4 on console. The other Sims games tend to give you some sort of omnipotent god powers, but in this one, we just are playing as the mayor. Oh, we ran into some fireworks that I put in the road earlier. We might as well demonstrate those while we have the chance. They shoot straight up, so we're gonna have to tilt the camera angle quite a ways. We can place as many of those as we want, provided we have the money, and we can also place them anywhere in the village, or city as it were. It's a small city, but it's still city. We can also repair our car by driving it right into this garage. We can't go inside many of the buildings, unfortunately, but this is very early, so they have plenty of time to patch stuff. Here's a loop-de-loop I put right in the center of the road. The AI cars don't have a great idea of how to navigate this, but it's difficult to navigate even when you're directly controlling a car. I'm not sure the loop-de-loop is particularly well programmed, but it's still impressive that there are car physics at all. I imagine a whole lot of people will be turned off by all the changes. I mean, it's barely recognizable as a Sims game, right? But I mean, I'm glad they tried such a big departure, regardless of how well it turns out sorry about that, sir. Regardless of how well it turns out in the end. We're spending a whole lot of time experimenting with the driving and roaming around the city, but there are so many more things to do. And we'll get to those very shortly. Let's get to them right now, in fact. Alright, are you guys ready for the big reveal? Everything in this city right now, I put it there. This game is like SimCity mixed with The Sims 3 for Wii. It's a very simplistic version of SimCity, but we can still build our own city with commercial buildings and residential buildings and workers that need to be put into places to construct them. If we run out of workers, we have to wait for them to regenerate, like some kind of phone game, except this is on PS4. A lot of people might not like the regenerating mechanics, but the game is free to play, so I guess that kind of comes with the territory. Considering you don't ever... Oh, by the way, there are missions in the game, but our current mission requires us to level up a building to 7, and that requires workers we don't have, so we have to wait for them to regenerate. I wanted to show off some of the missions, but I'm kind of stuck here, as it were, until the workers regenerate, which is a huge downside to the game. but I didn't think to record it earlier because I was having so much fun. There's not a lot of variety in missions, in all honesty. We can't buy certain objects yet because we need to complete missions or upgrade buildings to buy them, but as I was saying, there's not a lot of variety in the missions. They mostly revolve around collecting stuff around the town, building buildings, and I guess that's about it, really. Spending money to upgrade buildings and buying things around town. Finding things around town. We're gonna buy a parkour item, though, a small air jet. This is a rather unique addition, and it allows us to reach new areas of the city that we couldn't otherwise. I think all of them except for the air jet are kind of wastes of time, and you'll see why when we actually use the air jet, but it's still a neat idea. There is a lot to do, but not a lot of it will appeal to everyone because there's not too much groundwork here. There is groundwork, but not enough to be considered like a full game yet, which is fine because they still have plenty of time to update this. But now let's look into... Oh, I think it might have frozen, might have crashed, might have disconnected from the server. That happens a lot, and this game is always online. So if it disconnects from the server, you can't play. Just wanted to look at the decorations real quick. Anyway, let's hop on that small air jet we placed. In spite of it being called a small air jet, it gives us some height. So that should be more than enough to jump on top of the battery we have, which we constructed to supply power, to store power from the windmills around town, because we do need energy to complete construction on certain buildings and other tasks. So yeah, it is like SimCity, very simplistic SimCity, but still. And we can actually run around and explore all the buildings we place. And I think that's a huge positive. That may be the main drawing point of the game, is that we can explore all these things we place down ourselves, you know, up close and personal. Now let's try to get on top of the hospital. The hospital, really large. A small air jet by itself is not enough, but if we place it creatively, I think we can work something out. And by creatively, I mean on top of this plant. That should give us just enough extra height to make it. I think it's a little funny that they call these parkour items. I'm not sure what else they would call them, but it's definitely not parkour. And they needed to be in their own section because all of them are just for platforming, but man, that's weird to say for a Sims game. But again, a big drawing point in this game is that you can explore the city, such as jumping all the way up on top of the hospital, which is fully modeled. I mean, there's not a lot up here, but it's still impressive they modeled it at all, I think. They could have just not bothered. If you're looking for a game with a somewhat similar structure to this, where you build things and you also walk around, there's My Sims, which is a lot more cutesy and has a... Oh, hold on. Yeah, let's do the activities. The activities are mini-games. They say there's more to come very soon. But this is one of the more humorous things you can do in the game, is fight zombies. In a car, of course. The most effective way to kill zombies is by shooting fireworks at them. We have to lock on first, and the fireworks do actually physically fire from the top of the car. So, sometimes they miss. They're more likely to hit the closer you are, and if your car is, say, upside down, then the fireworks will just hit the ground instead, as I'm about to demonstrate accidentally. Yeah, it's not helping. This minigame is still super easy, all things considered. The zombies are supposed to run around and eat the brains of the normal civilians, but they have their own health bars, and usually the zombies barely move. We can also find them on our radar, and we're driving a car, so we have the advantage on all fronts. It's still kind of humorous, you know, in this city building game, to fight zombies with fireworks. Now, I believe this minigame is supposed to earn us money and experience, but just like with the taxi driving, the experience we earn is negligible, and we gain much more money from our commercial buildings too. So I would just say the minigames are for fun. I wouldn't call them an actual method to gain revenue of any sort. So yeah, overall I can see the massive backlash from fans of The Sims over this already, especially since it has EA's always online stuff again, which means the game will die forever whenever... Hey, look, a big brain. Which means the game will die forever whenever the servers go down. And any server outages will render the game completely unplayable. The last zombie appears to be trapped underneath this ramp we placed, so we can't get to it. But, you know, it's just a small bug. We can exit the activity at any time. So it's not a big deal. Anyway, thank you for watching me play The Sims 4 on PS4, and I can see it being polarizing already. I'll see you guys soon for more Sims 2.